The economy is like a basic machine, but if you don't understand how it works, it can seriously mess with your personal finances. Imagine this: you've just graduated, got your first job, and you're excited to buy your dream car or move into your own place. You take out a loan, thinking everything is going great. But suddenly, interest rates go up, your payments skyrocket, and you realize you're drowning in debt. Now you have to choose between paying your bills or affording groceries. Not understanding the economy can lead to moments like this, where everything feels out of control, and you don't know why. That's why it's so important to get how the economy works. Once you do, you can make better decisions about your money, avoid unnecessary stress, and take control of your financial future. Even though the economy seems complicated, it works in a simple way. It's made up of just a few main parts, with lots of transactions, like buying and selling, happening again and again. These transactions are based on human behavior, and they create three main forces that shape the economy. 1. Productivity growth. 2. The short-term debt cycle. 3. The long-term debt cycle. We'll look at these forces and how they work together to help us understand the economy. Transactions and spending. Let's start with the basics. Transactions. Every time you buy something, you're creating a transaction. It's as simple as a buyer trading money for goods, services, or financial assets like stocks. Transactions are what drive the economy. For example, in the US economy, consumer spending is a huge part of economic activity, about 68% of the economy's total GDP as of 2023. So if people stop spending, the economy slows down. If people spend more, like they did after the pandemic in 2021 when personal savings were high, the economy grows. Credit, the driver of debt cycles. Credit is the most important part of the economy, but also the most misunderstood. It's basically borrowing money and promising to pay it back later with interest. Borrowers use credit to buy things they can't afford right now, like a house or a car, and lenders, the people giving the loan, make money off the interest. As of mid-2023, the total US household debt stood at over $17 trillion, with mortgage debt being the largest portion of it. Credit card debt also hit a record high of over $1 trillion, showing how much people rely on borrowing. When interest rates are low, borrowing increases because it's cheaper to get a loan. This happened during the 2020-2021 period, when the Federal Reserve slashed interest rates to near 0% to boost the economy after COVID-19. But as inflation started to rise in 2022, the Federal Reserve began raising rates to cool down borrowing and spending. As of 2023, interest rates are around 5.5%, making it more expensive to borrow, which slows down the economy. Debt cycles. Short-term and long-term borrowing creates cycles. The short-term debt cycle typically lasts about 5 to 8 years. When borrowing and spending increase, the economy grows, like what happened in 2021 when GDP grew by 5.7%, one of the highest in decades. But too much spending causes inflation. In 2022, inflation in the US hit its highest point in 40 years, rising to about 9%, which forced the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates to slow things down. When borrowing decreases due to higher rates, the economy slows down, leading to a recession. This is why many experts feared a recession in 2023, as borrowing became more expensive and inflation remained high. The long-term debt cycle happens over many decades. Debt keeps building up because people borrow more than they repay. For example, the US national debt is now over $33 trillion and rising. Eventually, debt gets so high that it becomes impossible to pay back, leading to an economic crash like the 2008 financial crisis, when debt levels in housing became unsustainable. Deleveraging, the long recovery. After a major economic crash, the economy has to deleverage, meaning people, businesses, and governments cut their spending to pay off debts. This process can take a long time. After the 2008 crisis, it took about 10 years for the US to fully recover, a period sometimes referred to the lost decade. Governments sometimes step in to help, like printing money or redistributing wealth. For example, during the 2020 pandemic, the US government issued stimulus checks and unemployment benefits, pumping trillions of dollars into the economy to help people cope. In total, the US government spent around $5 trillion on COVID-19 relief. If handled correctly, this deleveraging process can stabilize the economy. If it's done poorly, it can lead to prolonged pain, like what happened in some countries after the 2008 crisis. Key takeaways. In summary, here are 3 key rules of thumb to avoid economic problems. 1. Don't let debt grow faster than your income. For example, if you're taking on credit card debt, but your income isn't rising, eventually that debt will become unmanageable, like how US consumer credit card debt hit $1 trillion in 2023. 2. Don't let income grow faster than productivity. If wages grow faster than how much workers are producing, companies can become uncompetitive, leading to layoffs or outsourcing. This was seen in industries like manufacturing in the US over the last few decades. 3. Do everything you can to increase productivity. In the long run, productivity growth is the key to better living standards. For example, the US saw productivity increase by 3.7% in the second quarter of 2023, which helps drive long term economic growth.